Get ready for another week of East Lake Walls football. The excitement starts now with an amazing pregame show live from the Den. Here are your hosts, David and Jeremy.
Welcome to another evening of the Den pregame show. I'm David Oliphant, and I'm here with Jeremy Budish, and we are thrilled for our fourth week of the show. Tonight we've got a host of East Lake Wolves that play in different capacities, some on special teams, some on offense, some on defense. So we'll go ahead and do some introductions here on my screen from left to right. Riley Hill. Riley's a senior, plays all kinds of positions on the offense, catching the ball, running the ball, plays linebacker and safety on defense, and then also is a snapper. We've got Pax Jacobson. Pax is a junior playing center, starting center all season, and then also long snap and on punt and PAT. Sophomore Benjamin Byman, Ben, his first varsity kicks this year, also played some defense last year, and excited to have Ben as a sophomore joining. And then Nolan Budish. Nolan this year starting on both sides of the ball and kind of a fullback, slot back position, and then also linebacker on defense. And Nolan's also kicked a little bit this year. And last but not least, Jack Steiner. Jack, not the guy that you would expect to be the team's punter, but you're also one of the key running backs and linebackers on the team. So to everybody, welcome to the Den. It's a good night to have you. We'll go ahead and we've just got some interview questions for the group here. So we'll dig right into this. Jack, we'll start out with you. And Jack, you and I've coached you going back a lot of years. You were a soccer player when you were really younger. And then I think you converted to be a full-time football player around fourth grade, something like that. You did a great job with some punts last week. I specifically remember one when going left to right is like about a 45-yarder and just good ball placement. Playing offense and defense both has pressure, running the ball, tackles, but there's nothing like being 15 yards behind the center waiting for that long snap and getting a punt off in a critical moment, especially when your back's against the wall to the end zone. Talk to us a little bit about how you see your biggest challenge in executing as a punter.
Well, I would just say like keeping calm and just like knowing we practice it and practicing, just like relying on those reps. And obviously I got Paxton as my long snapper and he's doing great. So love that.
That's awesome. Jack, I remember down at Williams Field, you had one pressure moment and you avoided some pressure there and maybe saved some points on the board. And so it's nice to have somebody like you that's back there, that's an athlete that can also kick the ball. So I think Coach Dan Lenning at Oregon said this week, the goal is to not punt. We hope to not see you on the field too much, but Dan Lenning last week decided to punt once so his punter didn't enter the transfer portal. So maybe we'll punt just to entertain you this week, but we hope to not see you too much this week, Jack.
Well, and I think it's a vote of confidence, right? I remember Coach Snell once saying, we don't give the ball on fourth down to just anyone, right? So if we're going to put the ball in somebody's hands, we want to be confident. And I think, that, like in Williams Field, like what we saw there where, high snap, not amazing. You went and recovered it and probably saved a few, points on the board for sure with your play was, why you're back there doing the punting. So let's move on. So Ben, I guess, as the kicker, obviously you do kickoffs, PATs, and also field goals. Walk us through your mindset before a big kick. What are you thinking about? What are you going through? What's your checklist, and kind of what goes through your mind?
Before a big kick, I usually just try to go through the same routine every time. I also just trust my preparation and practice with my holder and snapper, holder snapper, and just trust the preparation that I'll be able to get the kick off good.
That's awesome.
Ben, we love watching you kick. When we were down at Williams Field, we were having bets how high off the scoreboard you would bank one of the kicks. You were pounding the ball through the uprights. That was awesome.
Yeah.
We thought that would be a good recruiting tool to mark how high your kicks were off the scoreboard. All right, Pax. This could be around special teams, but this could also be just in general playing center. How do you and the team prepare for game day to stay sharp and consistent?
Yeah, so I usually just at first listen to some music, keep my mind right, just nice and calm, and then I'll usually coach lets out the special teams unit out first, so I'll get some just stretching in. Gotta stretch the legs because that's where I get all the power for long snapping. And then me and some of the younger long snappers will just pass the ball around, get our arms warm, and um, then we'll go straight into the long snapping. We'll do some snaps. Then we'll go to jack and do some punt snaps, and then a little bit of the PAT. But yeah, just gotta make sure that it's all good for the game and nothing goes wrong.
Well, I think, like you said, I mean, you're practicing, but you're also snapping for the team. And so you're in, and the expectation is, you just got a touchdown, you're going to come in, you're going to long snap for a PAT, or you're going to long snap for a field goal or a punt. And those are different. And so, like you said, you're warming up is important. Walk us through real quick, like the mindset of, hey, I'm a center and now I'm a long snapper and I'm feeding the ball back to Jack. How do you go kind of reset your mind for that situation?
Oh yeah, for sure. So yeah, when we go to fourth down and it's like fourth and long and then we go to punt, I just gotta go straight from center to long snapper. It's a little difficult, but definitely different stance. And I kind of just really got to think about what I was practicing because, like Jack said, just the practices, like we practice so much that just like gotta go. I know that if I just do it like how I did in practice, it'll be good.
It's awesome.
Pax, one question on that follow up. What's your pregame music, bro?
Oh, well, I actually listen to some worship music.
I love it. Let's go.
Yeah. It calms me down. Yeah, it's good.
Good job. That's awesome, Pax.
Yeah. Moving on to Ben and Nolan. So both of you guys have been, kicking on and off for quite a while. I know both of you have made plenty of PATs and field goals in your life, but you've also missed some big ones. So I guess just, walk us through, you miss a big field goal and you're coming back on the field to make a PAT or another field goal and being asked to, kind of come back out and make that big play. What adjustments are you guys making? What are you thinking about as, you come back on the field after missing that last one? And I guess we can start with Nolan and then go to Ben.
I'd say as far as the Gig Harbor game went in the blocked PATs, need to speed up the tempo a little bit, but obviously not a lot because it doesn't take a lot. Trusting the blockers and just repeating the same kick. Sometimes it's not your fault. Sometimes it is your fault. You can only control what you can control, but you got to think about it the same kick every time.
Great.
Some adjustments I would do is going back to like the basics and just remembering like the technique and not trying to kill the ball as much, which helps me. And also just being quick to the ball can help make a smooth kick and go through the uprights.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Kind of a follow on to that, Nolan, you mentioned the Gig Harbor game. It was super impressive to watch you mentally overcome a couple misses there. The first one, we never knew if that was going to be significant in the game or not. It wasn't a miss. It was just blocked from timing, but you fixed it later in the game. So there was a mental and a physical piece to that. Kind of along that lines, you're also playing both sides of the ball on offense and defense. How are you balancing your mental preparation as a two-way player, but also specifically in that game, a special teams contributor?
I definitely think it's challenging switching the gears from offense to defense to special teams. You definitely get tired, but Coach Hurt has said multiple times, every one of our coaches said so many times to do your 1/11th. So whether that's on offense, making the right block, running the right route, that's your 1/11th on offense. And on defense, you read your keys, and if the ball comes to you, you make the play. If it doesn't, then it's not your play to make. And then special teams, I guess kicking wise, just putting it up through the uprights and the PATs. That's your 1/11th. So as well as I can do that, that's my 1/11th.
I love it.
I do too. Looks like we missed Jack, so I'll move on to Riley. So Riley, you play both sides of the ball. How does playing both sides of the ball and special teams help you improve in your special teams play?
You're muted there, Riley.
You're
Am I good?
Yeah.
good.
Playing both sides of the ball, it definitely helps because, I mean, I played football for like my entire life pretty much, and I know it all comes down to timing. So I know if that snap isn't quick, it would get blocked like what happened in the Gig Harbor game with Nolan. Or if the snap just isn't right where the placeholder is, that it could all go wrong and either get blocked or we call a fire call and it's dropped or intercepted.
Riley, I think it's what's impressive to me about you is being able to play both sides of the ball and do it well, but also step into that 1/11th role as a snapper like that. How did you even start being a snapper?
Well, my brother, he went to Eastside Catholic. He picked up long snapping and turned out to be pretty good at it. He just throughout high school picked it up freshman year and through senior year did it, and he ended up playing college football at Chapman University, and he dropped it for a little bit and started to play DN. And then this year, his senior year, he picked it back up because the starting long snapper wasn't doing as well. So he just started to pick it up again and he's getting back into it. But definitely asking him for a bunch of tips and like stuff that helped him in high school help correlate to what I do now. And yeah.
That's awesome. Jack, we got you back. Question for you. You play a lot of different positions. What position pushes you the most physically and then mentally?
I would say definitely nickel. Because the last couple games we've been playing some wing T teams. So I've been essentially like on the D line going against tight ends and O linemen, which are obviously a lot bigger than I am. So that's been it's been like a challenge, and just taking like blows from the running back also it's definitely not as hard as punter, I would say.
You've seen a lot of football.
That wing T is, like a death by 1,000 cuts, right? They just keep running at you and at you. So I bet you guys are excited to not play a wing T team this week. Move on to Riley. So Riley, not only are you a both-way football player, but you're a multi-sport athlete. How has playing multiple sports helped you with your football and or helped you with your other, the lacrosse? I mean, you play lacrosse at a very high level.
Yeah, I mean, definitely being a multi-sport athlete, it helps because you get different like coaching experiences pretty much, and also like playing lacrosse, you need to stay in shape because you run a lot, of course. So having that under my belt is great because I know how to condition myself, which is good for football. And also footwork is big in lacrosse because when you're dodging, you need to have quick feet to beat your defender. So when that comes back to football, it definitely helps.
That's awesome.
Also something you always need to keep working. That's something that lacrosse has taught me, is that you always need to keep working because there's someone behind you or in front of you who's always trying to work to keep or to take your spot. So just to consistently keep working your craft just is always stuck with me.
That's good advice for some of the young bucks out there.
Definitely.
All right, Ben, we'll transition to you. Ben, Do you bring any of your techniques or preparation from other sports that you've picked up into football?
Yes, I've brought in some habits from baseball, like with the mental side of the game. When those pressure kicks are happening, during baseball, there can be a lot of pressure with making a play or an at bat because everyone's watching you. It's the same with kicking, so that's helped me a lot, just the mental side of it, and then also just having the same routine every time, just like stepping in a batter's box. It's the same as like taking my steps back for a kick, which has helped me succeed.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, as a kicker, everything kind of rallies around making everything the same every time. And, like you said, stepping into the batter's box, kicking the bat with your feet with the bat, whatever your kind of pre-hitting, warm up is kind of the same as that, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. So Paxton, chemistry as a long snapper is super important. How is that chemistry, between you, the holder, the kicker, or the punter, affect you as a player? And how do you kind of make that chemistry better?
Yeah, for sure. So I would say every time I do a long snap, like for a field goal or punt, I always ask Ben or Jack if it was like a good snap, because if it wasn't, then I know I have things to change and I'll do some extra work. But yeah, I think it definitely has to be good because of that aspect. And also I feel like when we went to California, and especially because I've known these guys for such a long time, I think I have good chemistry with them. I can just ask them, and they'll give me an honest answer too, which is good.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think, and for sure, I mean, I know, I coached you last year on special teams. You and Jack were, long snapper, punter. You had some opportunity last year to go up and play varsity, but for sure, I 100% remember you coming off the field and talking about, how was that snap? What could I have done better? And, really taking that feedback and trying to improve every time. So something that I definitely appreciated about you.
Yeah, thanks.
That's great. Nolan, question for you. This doesn't have to be specific to special teams. This is really, we're 3 weeks into the season, week 4 coming up. What's a moment this year where you felt like the unit, offensively, defensively, special teams, came together and you felt like that all the work in the off season and preseason kind of came together?
I'm gonna go and say our first defensive drive against Tumwater, and then our first offensive drive following that. Our plan going into that game was to go get a stop. We came out. It was sort of a longer drive than we wanted, but we got them to turn it over on 4th and short. Shout out to Jack Steiner making the tackle on that. And then we were able to go down, drive the ball down the field, and then Jacob Kim had a nice catch in the end zone for our first touchdown of the game.
Yeah, those were memorable moments. I would agree with you that, going into halftime, you guys hung blow for blow with those guys. And aside from a kickoff return and the one big touchdown they had, we probably could have been in the lead at one point. And the first half, Eastlake played great football. Second half was a little bit different story. They grinded, but I agree with you. The team really gelled there in the first couple series. Good job.
I wish you guys could go back and listen to the live cast. Dave was losing his mind. And unfortunately, we lost most of that because our cell reception in the stadium sucks. So we're going to Starlink next week or this week. Did some technology upgrades for Wolf Football live stream for sure. But like we were losing our mind because, of what happened on that first drive and the subsequent offensive possession. Like I said, it was awesome. Back to Jack. Jack, within, again, special teams, offense, defense, who's the vocal leader in the group and how do they motivate the team, every day, every week, every play to do better?
Yeah, so I'd say Miles Johnson does a great job of like rallying us together. He's a great guy. He's fun to talk to, but he can also be serious when we need to lock in, you know. So I think he's great talking to the team. And someone who motivates me personally is Roy. I'd shout out Rory Johnson because he always like just got a positive vibe. Great guy, and he just always wants to hype everybody up.
That's awesome. All right, guys, here's the question of the night everybody's wanting to talk about. Let's talk a little bit about Woodinville. This video will be live streamed Friday night before the Woodinville game. This is your first Friday Night Lights game. The first game at home was Saturday night. We played on the road in California Saturday night. Last week, we drove all the way down to Tumwater. So finally, we're home in front of the student body on a Friday night. The band's going to be pumping. Woodinville will be there in white. You guys will be. What color jerseys you guys wearing? You know yet?
Tomorrow. Figure that out tomorrow.
Okay, you figure it out tomorrow. But you guys will be there, and whatever we're watching here soon. We want to hear about what your prediction is for the Woodinville game. So we'll start youngest to oldest here. Ben, what's your prediction for the Woodinville game?
I'm very confident in our team. I think our coaches have prepared us well to do our 111th, and I think we'll be able to come out with a W.
Let's go. Pax, how about you, buddy?
Yeah, same thing with Ben. I think I'm confident in our team's ability to just have max effort, max energy, and I think we'll come out with a dub.
Love it. Jack, how about you?
Yeah, I'm really hyped to play the game. I'm happy to go out and play with a lot of enthusiasm and definitely start the game off to a good start. So yeah, I think we'll come out with the dub.
Go Wolves. All right.
Yep.
Riley, what are we gonna see this Friday?
I feel like a W, of course. Like if everyone reads their keys and does their job, we'll just come out on top.
I didn't ask this yet, but any key players we should keep an eye on for Woodinville?
No.
I got them for Friday night game.
We'll have them. All right. Nolan, last but not least, how do you see the game going on?
Our focus the past
Friday.
few weeks has been, coming out to a hot start, and we did that against Tumwater. I think we're going to be able to do that again. But our focus this week specifically has been trying to carry that effort and that execution into the second half, into the third quarter, into the fourth quarter. So I think you're going to see a lot of good stuff in the third and fourth quarter carrying over from the first half, and Wolves W.
I love it. Hey, Dave, before we go, I think we might be a little remiss. So I don't know if you guys probably haven't seen any of the social media stuff yet. And if you haven't, it's coming out. But Dave and I have started this new little shtick, if you will, Wolves in the Woods. It's the player of the week. And, we talked to Coach Hurd, and he actually asked us to add in, a skill player and a line person. And so this week, we actually went back the previous weeks, and we'll roll those out on Friday night. But we are actually on the line with one of the players of the week. And so I thought it'd be fun to pull it up and recognize him while we're on the call with him. So I can share my screen. So Pax, you are
Let's go.
Week
3 player of the
week
game.
3 player of the week, player of the game for the line side, the bigs, if you will. So congrats. This is gonna go live. We'll pull this up and talk about it a little bit, but again, your special teams play, you're delivering the ball every time as the center and as the long snapper, really, help keep us out of more trouble on Friday night, and it's recognized, it's appreciated. So congrats, Pax, on being one of the 2 week 3 player of the games by Dave and I.
Good
I
job.
appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Good job, Pax.
Thank you.
Well, hey guys, we really appreciate you joining us tonight, taking some time out of your weeknight. You might have some homework to do, but it's so cool for the East Lake community to get to hear from you and to get to know you a little bit better. And this will be live on YouTube. You'll be able to share it with friends and family. But again, from Jeremy and David, thank you. And Wolf strong, pack strong. Go Wolves. Let's go, baby.
Go Wolves.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.